So oOh Media is an out-of-home advertising organisation. Most commonly people will know us for our big roadside billboards, but there's a lot much more to our business than just what you see on the roadside. So my role as the head of talent was a new role for this organisation, and within my remit I have everything from employment branding, recruitment, talent management, succession planning, and onboarding and induction. Our previous experience was probably a very common experience for a lot of organisations where it's really manager-led. So whilst we've got the standard HR forms and processes, like, getting your super details or your bank details and, kind of the process orientated activity. And then really it was left up to the manager to organise that onboarding process. Some managers are really excellent at that type of thing, and other managers it's not a strong point for them. The first thing I did was actually look at the recruitment process and say, how do we tighten this up? I ran a whole heap of recruitment training for our hiring managers, introduced some new standard forms and templates around the actual interview process, so that again we're all kind of leading to that picture of a better quality of candidate. What I then did was map out, so once an employee signs that contract with us, what's the process that we currently have and what do we want it to look like? So I spent a lot of time on the latter, what did we want this to look like? I had this kind of massive, sheet of paper of literally identifying, every stage within that engagement period, what the timings were and who needed to have a role, whether it was a manager, an office manager, for example, from a coordination of, access passes or whatever that might be, and as well as the new employee themselves. So the key vendor that we've got on board is Onboarding, and we're using their tool and having amazing impact from an engagement perspective within that onboarding process. So what we've done is we've designed this process that starts from kind of 30 days pre someone starting with us all the way up until the end of their first 12 months. And using this Onboarding tool essentially is a two-way communication between manager and employee, and as a means for us to kind of survey and get a pulse check, for want of a better word, as to how employees are settling in within that first kind of 12-month period. They're loving it. Yeah, they're loving it. And I think, the reason being is this tool does everything for them. So from a manager perspective is that I think what is sometimes seen as quite an arduous task of onboarding someone, we have really streamlined that and done as much of the grunt work for the managers as we possibly can. So literally all they have to do is kind of fill out whatever information we can't do on their behalf, and kind of send it away. I would say, I think in this game, you've got to keep the candidate first. And I think anyone that says otherwise is living in the dark ages. So I think if you keep that as your guiding principle, no matter what you do, whether it's recruitment, whether it's, onboarding, whether it's induction, whether it's talent management, if you keep that candidate or that employee the front and center of your mind, then I think you just can't go wrong. I think, you need to be thinking about, what is that, candidate / becomes employee experience. As we talk about it from a customer experience perspective, there should be no difference. I think that would be my biggest kind of piece of advice is, I think no matter what you're doing, no matter what software or tool or technique or process that you might want to introduce or implement, is that just think about it from a candidate perspective.